Just you do the first link. Stay down the camera. Just this is the lightweight, whatever comes naturally. But you do the first link, then we'll crack on.
Go with that. This is the lightweight boxing show.
Spot on. A bit like the Barnet. Yeah. A bit like Matteo, the waiter in Benidorm.
Matteo.
Yeah, Benidorm.
Off Benidorm.
Yes. Yeah, it's nice.
Turn that off.
Well, this is the lightweight boxing show with me, Dom McGuinness, and $1 Million Crolla, former WBA lightweight champion of the world. He likes us to say that every single week. But of course, this week we are at Fox ABC. This is your club, but of course it
is
founded by the legendary Jimmy Lewis, Anthony.
Yes, Jimmy. It's had a few homes over the years, and this is our latest one. And this is going to be our own for a good while yet, for sure. You know, we're really happy, as you can see. Gym looks certainly different to the gym. Gyms that I grew up with Jimmy, but no, it's great. It's great to have them here.
I know you're going to show us around in a little while. And we've got special guests today. We've got the one and only Joe Gallagher, champion trainer. I think you know him fairly well. And also CJ, Callum Johnson, former
Also
world title challenger.
Well.
Of course you do. So we're going to catch up with both of them. We're going to be previewing everything on the Newcastle card. Of course, Savannah Marshall topping it against Fury-Hermans. But of course, we were in Leeds all of last week. We were all over the fight week. And what a fight night it was as well. It didn't disappoint. And before we get to the main event, we were very interested in some of the undercard fights. Sky Nicholson did the business, of course, as well. There's a couple of local lads that got through the night as well. But I think that when the action really peaked in terms of Dalton Smith in against Ray Moylett, because knowing both lads, and it was quite an interesting one with Ray being out of action, but I know he sparred you, and you have a connection to both fellas as well. Dalton, though, just showed his star quality. Ray showed what a tough fella he is after 3 years of inactivity.
He did, and listen, on paper, I think, Ray was pretty clear in the press conference. I don't believe I'd be getting these opportunities if he hadn't been on the couch for 3 years. But Dalton's a class act. For me, he's one of the best prospects in British boxing. I've said it for a while, and he boxed a brilliant fight. And listen, Ray never stopped trying. And he asked Dalton a few questions, but Dalton looked very good on the night. And listen, Ray deserved to see the final bell, yes. But it was also a good decision at the same time.
Now, there was a really intriguing trade fight. Maxi Hughes has been one of the best stories of recent years in terms of the way that he's dealt with the blows and the losses and just kept going. Cinderella stuff, obviously, and now he's IBO champion. And it was one of those fights, you look at it and you think, wow, Ryan Walsh, Maxi should be looking for easy fights or, the big world title fights. And he's game to take Ryan Walsh, which was tough. And Ryan Walsh proved how tough he was. But Maxi was just that bit fitter, sharper, stronger.
And still, I said it was going nowhere. And it's still here.
Ebony Bridges in a world title challenge against Ceci Ramon. And again, she's had her detractors. She plays the games the way she wants to play the game. She's unapologetic about the way she sells herself. But again, she is tough, and she toughed it out, and she got the win.
Ebony delivered, and I think for the people, she gained an awful lot of respect after the Shannon Courtney fight. And I think, again now, I think people need to start putting that bit more respect on the name. Listen, Ebony plays the game. Let's not be honest. A lot of people are talking about weigh-ins and what she's going to have on. But she also put in a fantastic performance there. And, she dug deep again when she needed to. Because at one point I thought, will she get walked down? But no, she works back. Credit to Mark Tibbs as well. Yeah. And she's a world champion. I think big fights are coming for Ebony.
And you can always guarantee there'll be a potty-mouth interview at the end of it as well. So fun before, during and after with Ebony Bridges. Now, the main event, Kiko Martinez, who again has been another story in the fact that he became a world champion at the age of 73. But he is only 36, but he's been around forever, hasn't he? And he's still as tough as he ever was, and he's still got an incredible engine on him. But Josh Warrington just set about him, didn't he? From the first bell, and it was a ferocious fight, a brutal fight.
He did.
But he really did get the job done.
And I think, look at both lads' face after the fight, the injuries. I think, listen, we've seen the broken jaw of Josh, how marked up Kiko was. It was a very tough fight for both men.
Because of the old jaw, it's looking quite a size now. I've got a liquid diet this week and next. No fry-ups on a Monday, like normal. But instead, a porridge in a cup all liquid and watered down. The things that you have to do, the price you pay for being champion.
It was one of those hard fights, that miles on the clock, but I thought it was a fantastic performance by Josh. And I think he's had many special nights in his career, Josh. Winning a world title at Ellen Rowe probably takes some beating. But I believe Saturday night to become 2-time world champion in that atmosphere, which was unreal, it's that's going to be right up there. And I thought it was a fantastic performance. I don't want to say he rolled back the years because it was only, the one bad night he'd really had. But it's shown that he's got plenty left.
He showed that he can deal with any kind of pressure as well. He put a lot of pressure on himself.
Yeah.
The 2 Lara fights, the second one at Headingley, and that ended the way it did, was really disappointing. But then he went straight back in a world title fight against Martinez, and he knew what was coming. And the fact that, again, the winners in hospital having operations, I think that just summed up the nature of the fight, didn't it?
So I think, is his hand gone as well? His hand gone, his jaw's gone, but he'll be laying in that hospital bed. And other than the liquid diet, which might not be too enjoyable, it will be worth every bit of it, as mad as that sounds. But that's what it meant for him to be world champion. Let's not forget, you had your Leeds players there, you know, all supporting him, the crowd. They absolutely love him.
What next for him? Because there's the Leewood fight. And Josh pre-fight was talking about, I'll go to the City Ground, we'll have a takeover and all the rest of it.
Josh deserves these away days now. And listen, an away day at the City Ground would be adventurous, but he deserves that American night. He's been a 2-time world champion. So, listen, if he could get a Santa Cruz fight in America, taking that Barmy bunch over to Vegas or New York, wherever it may be, that, for me, as if I was in Josh's shoes, would be my first choice. But a fight with Leewood wouldn't be a bad second.
We want to have a look around this place. So it's not Crolla's Corner, it's Crolla's Tours this week.
So we are Averell Football Club, also the home of the Fox Amateur Boxing Club, and where I spend a lot of my time with my professional fighters and helping out with the amateur fighters in the area. Come here. Here we go. It's where the magic happens. Some of the gyms I grew up in, it's state of the art compared to them, so very lucky to have this place and the people who've helped us out. We come over here, I think one of the most interesting parts of this. Some pictures here, this was done by my cousin and her husband Dom, who's one of the coaches here at the Amateur Boxing Club. If you look around, there's probably a few too many of me. It's not really a shrine to me. But if you come round here, so it's here, pictures of some of my greatest nights, but also, just to keep me humble, bang, that one right there, me taking a shot. Don't know if that was a shot that knocked me out or not, but it wasn't a very nice one. But just keep you humble, that's what you need. You need real friends around you. Ones that keep you humble. You don't want friends around you who keep telling you how great you are. So just a reminder, yeah, it's good to keep it real. In here we've got a classroom, you come through and put the light on. And what we have in here now, because what we have a few of the children and schools in the area that we're working with, kids who are at risk of exclusion, you do sort of like the final bit of education before they leave to go on to jobs. So yeah, this is really rewarding. A few of the coaches here, I'll spend time, I always pop in to see them, but it's good because then they'll do, as part of the physical activity, they'll come out here and do a bit of a session. There's some good fighters coming through there actually. Come through now and again when people get through out of their own, the doghouse, not because of the sparring, but yeah, it's where a few people might have to stay when they're when they're in trouble at home. Yeah, here's a little office. Here's my mate Dom, one of the coaches. So yeah, this is my place to work. What did you used to do on cribs? Now get out.
Well, nice to see you all around Fox ABC, and it is actually very, very pleasant in it in terms of it's a bit too nice for a gym at the minute.
It is at the minute, like I said before, some of the gyms I turned up, but with my day I worked, Dom, I wasn't going to let this place know.
No, yeah, saw you with a stud gun, and that was people were running for miles when you started playing with it. It was ridiculous, but anyway, yeah, it's fantastic now. So it's hopefully no more mishaps, and it'll go from strength to strength. But somebody that's gone from strength to strength that you know very well is normally playing his trade a few miles up the road where you are as well regularly, and that is the one and only Joe Gallagher.
I wouldn't say busier. I think Anthony will vouch for it when we were flying at the time. Obviously, I was Scott Cardle, Jose Burton, the Smiths, Macklin. we always had around 12-14 fighters in the gym at the time. And as you've seen yesterday, it's busy. There was a few of Anthony's kids in as well. It's in a good state at the moment. I'm really happy. I did speak to, I think it was Natasha yesterday, funny enough, Natasha, just to say, as you keep saying to me, I thought you were retiring last year. And there, as the saying goes, I was out, but it keeps dragging me back in. And I think that's down to Natasha more than anything else. I think finally her achieving a world title dream and seeing it, a bit more at ease with myself, and I'm enjoying it. As you've seen yesterday, I was doing technique sessions with them in the gym, and everyone that's in that gym that's training at the moment have got what Anthony has had and Scott's had, that they've had that ambition, they've got that drive, they want what they've had, they want them TV dates, they want to fight, win for titles. And coaching's a lot easier when the kids have the same determination and drive as you, and everyone's singing off the same hymn sheet. So yeah, it's good, and we go again.
There's been a lot made of bad judging recently, but the bad decisions are always going to happen in this sport. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it should be brushed under the carpet. Things should be looked into, but we're always going to have bad decisions in boxing.
I also feel, when we're on about the judging, obviously it went 15 rounds, it's down to 12. I've heard many people suggest, why don't they just cut the rounds again and make it just into a 10 round or a 9 round fight?
The problem will always, you get bad decisions in a 4-rounder.
Well, since obviously the one that made loads of headlines, Cattrall and Taylor, there's been many a bad scorecard since, but there's never been no hype about it. That there's been opposite scorecards to the other ones that won, but just because that made the House of Commons or it wasn't on national TV, nothing's been done about it. But I do understand as well as a point of view, because from a judge's point of view, I can see sometimes how one judge can see totally a different view from two other judges, because he's sat where the other two judges can see the action and he can't. So I can see sometimes a different scorecard like that. But it's easy for people sat at home with all Sky cameras, every angle, commentary, to see a total different fight than that one judge that most probably didn't see much of the action because the back's to him all the time. So it is subjective, as Robert Smith would say. If it goes ahead, it goes ahead. If you listen to Frank the other day and the argument with Dylan's lawyer.
The build-up has been mental, hasn't it? You know, when you think about it.
The image rights, even down to the poster. I'm a huge Tyson Fury fan, but I want Tyson to win. I just think the way Dylan and his team have behaved for the build-up for this fight, they're getting his biggest purse today. He's challenging for the world title, and the way they're behaving is just not winning no fans over. The thing is, as well, is it's not his job, but you should enjoy the event, enjoy the press conference, enjoy the occasion as big as. And the thing was, is Dylan not doing himself any favours. If he wins, no one's got to hardly see it because Dylan hasn't done his best fight. But if it comes to a rematch, he's got to do himself damage again because hardly anyone's seen it, and the way that he acted, he'll be looking not a good purse as well. I just think what they all should have said was, as Eddie should have said, well, listen, Dylan, there's your purse. I didn't win the purse bids. Good luck with it, and anything you need, we're here, and let them get crack on with it. But the games are not coming over or presser, but I think it's drawing more traction for all the wrongdoings that they're not doing for it, if that makes sense. So, and obviously, Frank the other day, I think Frank won that one 1-0, didn't he, with the shoulder roll. You can't beat Frank at that type of game, and I agreed what they said. If it isn't in the contract, what you're arguing about, you signed it, and you should have ironed them out, cross the I's and the T's before you signed it. But going back to it, I want Tyson Fury to win. I think Tyson will win. I see him brought over Miller, doing a bit of sparring now. He's had good sparring. Dylan's over in Portugal, assume. He's training away, and it's a huge opportunity for him. They're all relying on Dylan down the straight with a big shot. I just think Tyson Fury's a bit too cute, too smart, big stage experience, been against the bigger punchers, and people forget Dylan only a couple of fights got knocked out by a 40-year-old Povetkin, 40-year-old Povetkin. So I think if you're looking at light or down, Tyson Fury's the favourite, and as long as he's not being messed about or in his head or he's took it lightly, I think Tyson will win.
And we know what's been going on in Ukraine, but Usyk is out and training now, and that is going to happen apparently, so we're led to believe. So Joshua Usyk in June. Anything changed from the first fight?
AJ fighting Usyk in London, all of a sudden it might not be a favourite because of Usyk coming out and being at war with his country. A bit like Muhammad Ali when he was out of action for a while against Vietnam and everything else. He's got to be portrayed as a hero. And that could be turn the crowd and the tide. So I can understand them overthinking, hang on a minute, I'm trying to challenge for the world title, but I'm not getting the rose now, it's Usyk. So taking it to Dubai, obviously money is a big player as well. But it'd be interesting to see the adjustments Anthony Joshua's made. But as much as he's made, Usyk will make again. And I just think it'll be the same type of result again.
Yeah, Joe in great form. He has been in good form, and it's that gym bustling as it is, and yeah, he's going to be doing that till he's 70, isn't he?
He is. He's been retiring for the past 10 years, and but no, the gym's absolutely flying, and like he admitted then, he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, but moving on, there is a big show in Newcastle this weekend. It's on Sky. It's a boxer show, and Savannah Marshall, she tops the bill. She's defending her WBO middleweight title against Fury-Hermans of Belgium. There's plenty of other talent and local talent on the card as well. But in Savannah's point of view, you know, she's the only champion in that part of the world at the moment. Do you see any problems against Hermans?
I don't. I've been in this very ring, actually. She's been here the past few weeks doing bits of sparring with the lads, and like the tiniest bit where Rhiannon's like done little bits because sometimes the opponent will switch southpaw a little bit. But yeah, no, she's done quite a bit here. You know, Peter Fury's brought her down. I believe Savannah has really come into her own the past 12, 18 months. Lovely style. It took her a bit of time to get it. But I think now she's a very hard one to beat. And I think Saturday she comes through no problems.
And we saw her sparring, of course, as well at Gary Booth's gym in Partington as well recently. And again, she does have that languid style, doesn't she? And I mean,
so relaxed. I think it's a style that's been implemented by Peter. He's done a great job with her, a brilliant job with her. And not just that about being relaxed, she hits very hard. I think one of the hardest hitters, you know, pound for pound, sure, you know, in the women's game.
Now, there have been changes to the bill, but we know that Brad Ray, a real Manchester talent that we followed very closely, a great lad as well, and he's in action. I can't see him slipping up as well. He's been seamless, really, since he started.
Brad, yep.
You mentioned Dalton earlier. I mean, Brad's one you put right up there. These are real stars, aren't they?
Absolutely, and hopefully he keeps going from strength to strength, and the backing behind him and the exposure he's getting, that hopefully, we see him at that arena in the near future, topping the bill of his own. I think he's certainly got the talent to do that.
In with a tough African with just one defeat, but again, I think he'll find it's very different getting in with Brad Ray than some of the people that he'd been in with, but we look forward to that one. April Hunter also on the bill, and we've seen April again, who was sparring recently. I know she's sparred some of your lads as well. She
has. April, character of the sport, and she's looking to get back to winning ways after the fight with Kirsty Babington, but she's been putting in the hard work with Peter Fury. I think she seems, you know, really settled there, and with her friend Savannah Marshall, and I think on the undercard, which could be the pick'em and certainly the fight of the night, is Florian Marku versus Chris Jenkins.
Yeah, well, Chris Jenkins, I mean, again, recently, he's had some good wins as well. He dealt with, obviously, the Tanzanian that's been over here.
Dongo, that was a great win last time out, and that's what I mean. So now it's a fighter who believes in himself again. As we know, Florian's not short of confidence. Listen, Florian's starts a favourite, but he's not a huge favourite. If Chris can box how he has, which seemed to win British titles, it could be a hard night's work for Florian. Well, we have recently caught up with a few of the fighters that are on the bill, so have a look at this.
You know, it's not easy. I am big at the weight, but I don't think any boxer, makes the weight easy if you're doing the weight right. But yeah, it's just part of it. It's part of the game, and I've got a great nutritionist on board who we work with, Pete Bell, who we have a structured program that we follow, and by fight night I'm refueled and I'm feeling great, and I'm happy. Look at me, I'm smiling.
Well, did you see the reception last time? Like, obviously I know my night didn't go to plan, but we'll be putting that right April 2nd, and when Savannah headlined, the atmosphere was just unbelievable. Like, she even jumped on the ropes, man. That's how good it was. she doesn't do that, so...
I blanked that out. Never happened.
Another night like that, I think it'll be amazing. And
people in the North East owe Ritson for bringing boxing back.
Yeah.
Massively.
And like I said, the amount of people that turned up for the last fight in October was unbelievable. The response was unbelievable. So I'm expecting I'm expecting a tough testing for me, but I'm really looking forward to April the 2nd.
I'd like to see Clarissa Shields in the North East, because I loved that interview with you and her afterwards when you met recently in Cardiff, and when you were talking at her, she had not got a clue what you were saying. I know you're from Hartlepool.
She did.
I'm
She
really
did.
not sure she did. I'm really not sure she did. I'd love just some of the Geordies talking to her up there and getting a fight out there would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Oh, 100%. I think she's coming. Well, she's been invited, whether or not she turns up or not. I've got a receipt right between my mum and dad.
Good luck.
That'll be eventful.
Well, there we have it, all the action from Newcastle. And Savannah Marshall, if she gets the job done, then again, it's all eyes on Clarissa Shields, isn't it?
That's the biggie. I think that's one of the very biggest fights that can be made in the women's game for sure. And it's a huge fight for boxing, and I believe we will see it probably next.
Very, very quickly, what would happen if they did meet?
I go with Savannah. I see the improvement in her over the years. I first seen Clarissa Shields as a 17-year-old girl going to the 2012 Olympics, where the US had the holding camp in Bolton. And I was blew away. I was like, oh my God, this girl, I was seeing her nearly, she was having to get in with the men because she was nearly taking the heads off, her sparring partners. It was like young, ferocious fighter. I just believe where I would have expected Clarissa to go from strength to strength, and she has done this, but the improvement in the last 2 years has been with Savannah, in my opinion. I think that's the difference.
I said very quickly that could have been Savannah wins or Clarissa wins.
I'm sorry
anyway,
about
that's
that,
fine.
Dan.
You
I got a bit
crack
passionate,
on.
but I think a Savannah win.
Sure, show on.
It's all about me.
It's all about you. Anyway, our second guest who's joined us at Fox ABC today, we'll get into him now as well. It's another fella that you know very well, funnily enough, from a few miles down the road where he trains under the guidance of Joe Gallagher. And of course, he's fought for world titles. So let's find out a little bit more of what's going on in the world of Callum Johnson. Well, a bit of a nightmare just after around Christmas time with the fight with Joe Smith, but it is, of course, Callum Johnson. And Callum, I know you're back in the gym and re-energised and everything else, so just tell us where you're up to now, because obviously that fight, that was a huge blow, the COVID situation, to rob you of that chance in the States.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, obviously, as you can imagine, January, February, I was a little bit depressed, but I've kind of let it go. I've accepted if there's no, I was there for weeks on end thinking what could have been, what should have been, and all the rest of it, but I've learned to let that go, and I'm back in and I'm moving forward and I'm looking forward. So that's all I can do.
He's fresh in the gym. He's not been in wars. He's not been in hard sparring. Over the years. Joe's always looked after him like that. So he's still relatively fresh. I don't believe he's a 36-year-old, but you're 36, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I do believe on his. That's it.
That's what I mean. I always think about that, and I always think if Bernard Hopkins can do it at 49, I can do it at 36 and 37 and 38.
Louis Ortiz can do it at 62. Then there we go.
Yeah, just 100%.
But talking to the light heavy scene, I know that obviously I think it was Nick Taylor in Boxing News this week has said that a fit and raring to go Callum Johnson's the best of the light heavies around domestically, which is very strong. Obviously, when you got the likes of Boatsi and Yard and Callum Smith, of course, you both know so well. Do you feel that if you get yourself right and you get that date, you get that something that to fire you up again, that you are the best?
Yeah, I do, because you've got to think that. I think that I'm one of these that when I'm fired up and I'm rearing to go and I'm ready and my mind's right, my body's right, and everything's going right, I believe I can beat anybody in the world. But when obviously things ain't going right, I don't feel like I could beat my missus. Don't
do that.
But 100% fit and strong Callum Johnson, even at 36, 37. I'll beat anybody in the world. It's as simple as that. But I'm not saying I can't get beat, because obviously I can. I'm not saying I'm the best in the world either, because I'm not. But I'm just saying on my day, the best version of me is really, a problem. Listen, I'm at the stage now where I'm not bothered who I fight, when I fight, if you like. I'll fight whoever's there for me. I'll fight. First name that gets mentioned, yes.
Has it got to be of a level though?
Yeah, of course. It has to kind of make sense. Do you know what I mean? It has to make sense to a certain degree. But yeah, anybody who's a world level fighter top British level fighter, you know, let's do it. I think I'd bash Lyndon Arthur all around the ring, you know. I don't think he'd have anything to kind of, he's got a good jab and everything else, but I think I'd put it straight on him. Anthony Yard, you know, again, he's very powerful. He looked the business against Lyndon Arthur in that fight, in the rematch. But again, I think it's more down to, I don't want to sound like I'm disrespecting because I'm not that way inclined, but I feel like that was a bad Lyndon Arthur that night, real bad Lyndon Arthur, which made Yard look better than he probably was. But, you know, you can only be what's in front of you at the end of the day. And Boatsi, great fighter, you know, he's got all the Olympic pedigree and everything else. But that's one that could have happened a long time ago. They never wanted to make that fight happen. There's been, for the last 3 years, they've spoke about that fight. And, you know, there's been numerous times me and Joe said to Eddie, well, let's make it then. And, you know, they've always not made it for whatever reason they've had, you know, so it is what it is.
Well, good to hear from Callum there. Hopefully he gets a bit of luck and gets a shot pretty soon.
He does. I think he's been well documented in his career. If it wasn't for bad luck, he wouldn't have had no luck whatsoever. But I believe 2022 he'll finally get that chance.
Let's hope so. And what a scene it is, that light heavy scene. But anyway, before we go anywhere, firstly, we've got to congratulate you, Anthony, because last week an imperious performance in the punditry in terms of the winning bet for Maverick Stars. You got all your selections correct.
Yep.
Heaped a bit of pressure on you because you've got to keep it going now. So what is the bet this week? I
also made a lot of people spoil their partners and mothers on Mother's Day. So hopefully I can do the same again this week. This week, it's not a great betting week, but I'm going to get my Betfred app out. Here we go. So I'm going Savannah Marshall, inside the distance.
Yep.
Florian Marku, Chris Jenkinson's a great fight, but I think Florian does it inside the distance. And then just to add to the bet, I think Sandor Martin, just to win this is Sandor Martin, Chloe Watson, Bradley Ray, and Luke Cope. All to win. All to win. Right, okay. Well, there we have it. Let's hopefully it's another successful week. All the best with that, Ant. That'd be fabulous if it is. But before we go as well, just talk us through that technique, slapping technique. Now, what should he have done? Well, he didn't rotate at the hips. Just that, by the way, I think Chris Rock is a great guy. I was lucky enough to meet him in LA. So first of all, I think it's wrong. But yeah, I think, you know, Will, you look at the movies he's done. He played a great role in Ali. I expected more, and maybe the pressure got to him, and he went in there with a hot head. And as anyone knows, when it boxing, delivering a punch, you can't go up there with a hot head. And but we don't condone violence and whatsoever. It was all wrong. So anyway, we were only joking. It's not like that on the lightweight boxing show. Yep, all love it. Now, we don't know where we're going to be next week, but we'll be somewhere very exciting, Anthony. Pretty sure of that. We'll be on our travels somewhere. Well, thank you very much indeed for watching. Before we go as well, remember, the interviews that you've seen today with Joe Gallagher and Callum Johnson, the long-form interviews will be on the YouTube channel. All you got to do when you go there is subscribe and like. There's lots and lots of good stuff on there as well, that loads of bits that don't make the shows as well. So get on there, have a look. Well worth a watch. But this, at Fox ABC, thanks for showing us around your home, Anthony. Down. It's been great. This has been the Lightweight Boxing Show.